All right, so this is where I go over the practice problems that I posted. So either you have tried the practice problems on your own and you're trying to check your answer, or you're not sure where to get started, so you want to follow along with me. Either is fine. So the first problem I have is I want to figure out what ordered pair is going to make both of these equations true at the same time. So I have y equals negative 3x minus 7 and y equals x plus 9. As a reminder, since this is equal to y and this is equal to y, I can set them equal to each other because this equals y and this equals y, so they equal the same thing. So I have negative 3x minus 7 is equal to x plus 9. To solve this solution, we're looking for an ordered pair answer. Now, here we just have x as the variable, so if we can isolate x, we can get 1/2 of our equation, 1/2 of our ordered pair, so that we can plug in x and get y so we can figure out a solution to our system. So looking at this, I have just an x and a number on this side and x and a number on this side. So I don't have any distributive property. I don't need to worry about that. I don't have any combining of like terms, so I'm good there. The next step is just to move all numbers to one side and all variables to the other. I could choose any place to start. I could choose here, 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 or here. I'm just going to go ahead and start at the negative 3. So I want to undo this negative 3x. I want to get rid of it. And so to make this 0, I would have to add positive 3x to this side. And if I do that, I have to do it to this side because property of equality says you have to do something to both sides to keep it equal. So negative 3x plus 3x is 0. I'm not even going to write it. I'm just going to bring down that negative 7, bring my equal sign down. This is 1x. I don't have to write the 1 because I just know it's 1x. X plus 3x is 4x, and I'm going to bring down that positive 9. All right, so now I have negative 7 is equal to 4x plus 9, and I want to get the numbers on one side and variables on the other. So I have a number, variable, and a number here. I could bring the negative 7 over, but then I'd have to put a 0 here, so I'd still have a number, variable, and a number. Or I can bring this 9 over, and then I'd isolate the x, the 4x here. So I'll go ahead and do that. How do I undo positive 9? I'm going to subtract 9 from this side. I must do the same thing over here. All right, negative 7 subtract another 9 is going to give us negative 16. So if you are having trouble with this, this is like you're already in debt $7 and you need to borrow $9 additional, and now you have negative 16 as your total debt. Equals, bring down that 4x, and then 9 minus 9 is going to be 0. All right, so now I have a number on this side, equals, and then a x variable here. And so I'm just trying to get the x alone. How do I get rid of that 4? Well, it's 4 times x. How do I undo times? I have to divide. So I'm going to divide this side by 4 and divide this side by 4. So I know 16 divided by 4 is 4. By the way, this is a positive 4 if that helps you understand a little bit more. So I have the number is going to be 4 here, but the sign is going to be negative. So negative 16 divided into 4 groups is going to be negative 4. And then over here, 4 divided by 4, any number divided by itself is going to be 1. So it's going to be 1x. So x is equal to negative 4. X is equal to negative 4. So I have my x variable. Now, you are going to want to take this x and you're going to want to plug it back into one of the equations up here. To show you that, I'm just going to do both of them and show you that they both work, but you can choose which one. You only need to do one. So I'm going to rewrite this as y equals negative 3. I'm going to leave a space for where the x would have been minus 7. And I'm going to plug in negative 4 here. And then I'm just simply going to solve until I have one number. So I have y is equal to negative 3 times negative 4 multiplied together would be positive 12. Bring down that minus 7. Y equals 12 minus 7, that's going to be 5. So y equals 5 here. I could use this way easier equation if I wanted to just do the same thing. So you have y is equal to, instead of x, I'm putting a space, plus 9, and then I'm going to put that negative 4 in here for x. So if I were going to simplify this, I would just say y is equal to 9 and negative 4 added together is 5. So either way you slice it, you get y is 5. So now I have x and I have y. My ordered pair for this system of equations is going to be written as negative 4, positive 5. That is the answer that you would put on your paper. All right, so that is the first question I have for your practice. The second one, let me just get it here, is y equals 4x plus 3 and y equals negative x minus 2. So again, this here is equal to y, and this here is equal to y, which means if they're both equal to y, that's the same thing, and they're equal to each other, so we set them equal to each other. Now, the same as the last problem, if I want to try and get an ordered pair here, I need to solve for x. So I can start with moving this to this side or this over here, but I want to make sure I get all my x's on one side and all my numbers to the other side. I personally like to make everything as positive as possible, so I'm going to try and get rid of this negative x. So I'm going to, how do I get rid of negative 1x? Well, I would want to add an x here. So I can add an x here and then simplify. So I have 4x plus x is going to be 5x. Bring down that positive 3. Negative x, positive x cancels out, and I bring down that negative 2. All right, so now I'm trying to get variables on one side and numbers on the other. So I'm going to try and get this 3 out of the way, so I just have the x's over here. How do I undo positive 3? Well, I need to subtract 3. So I'll be subtracting 3 here. So now I'm going to bring down that 5x. 3 minus 3 is going to be 0. And then I have negative 2 minus 3 more. So I'm already at negative 2, and I need to go to the left on the number line 3 more. And so that's going to be negative 5. All right, I'm almost done with this part. So now I have 5 times x. I want to get x alone, so I need to undo times the 5. So how do I undo times 5? Divide by 5 here, and I divide by 5 here. 5 divided by 5 is going to be 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. So I have x here. Negative 5 divided by positive 5 is going to be negative 1, because we know negative divided by positive is negative, and then 5 divided by 5 is 1. So I have my x is negative 1 here. All right, going back to the top, I have y equals 4x plus 3 and y equals negative x minus 2. I can use either one of these to figure out y if I plug in negative 1 for x. And so I will go ahead and write it up here. I have y equals 4 times x plus 3. And I'm going to go ahead and plug in the negative 1 here. So I can just simplify until I have one number. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4 plus 3. So negative 4 plus 3 is going to be negative 1. Y is negative 1. I can do the same thing here. I can plug in negative 1 for x. Y equals negative, leave a space for the x, minus 2. And I can plug in negative 1 here and just simplify until I get one number. So I have y equals negative times a negative. We haven't seen this in a while, but this is like negative times a negative is going to be a positive. So positive 1 minus 2. Y equals 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So again, whatever is easier for you, you can do both. Just check yourself, but you need the answer for y. So now that I have x is negative 1, y is negative 1. My ordered pair is going to be negative 1, negative 1. And that is my answer that I would write for my paper. All right, that's all for today. Stay tuned for tomorrow when we have more practice on this and an exit ticket. Thanks.